Hello and welcome to a special edition of the Pure Football Podcast. We are going to analyse in detail the press conference that Joan Laporta has done this morning. It's the first time that he spoke since he became a chairman of Football Club Barcelona 73 days ago. And there is a lot of very interesting nuggets that will give you an idea of what situation Barcelona is right now. And it will calm the pressure off a little bit of wanting answers from the Catalan and the Spanish media, from the fans as well, because a lot of what's happening requires its process, and they are in the middle of the process, and what Laporta has done is actually explain that process and what state they're in. He spoke about Ronald Koeman, he spoke about Leo Messi and his future, about Pep Guardiola, about Xavi Hernandez, about the European Super League, and generally he touched on everything. Some of it he left ambiguous answers, others he was very clear. The finances of the club, for instance. Let's start with Ronald Koeman and his future. Even though, of course, the club already finalizing deals with players that are out of contract, like Kun Agüero and Wijnaldum, Eric Garcia. Also, they're going to bring Emerson from Betis. It's called by Barcelona and Betis. He had a great season at Betis, the right back, and he's going to come to Barcelona, will be in the pre-season with them. As well as all that, and that's important, and they had to do that quickly before even they decide who the next manager is going to be. The role of the manager is very important, is crucial. Now, what Joan Laporta has openly said, and very honestly as well from him, is that he's asked Ronald Koeman time to think about what to do next. So they met already. There was lunch with also Rafa Yuste, the director of football at the club, and Joan Laporta and Ronald Koeman. Then there was a meeting a few days ago with Rob Jansen, also Koeman's agent, that was in the offices of Barcelona, and that only lasted half an hour, where basically Joan Laporta asked for more time to take the decision. And this was, as this is what Laporta says, these were conversations that had to do with finding synergies with Ronald Koeman, to see if they all think the same, to see if they all agree in targets, they all agree in players that have to come, etc. But at the same time, when he was asked by Edwin van Winkels, a Dutch journalist, when he was asked, Laporta was asked, there are witnesses that have heard you say to Ronald Koeman, you are not my favorite manager, and we are looking for others. Do you think you can work with somebody, with a manager in which you haven't got full trust with? And basically, Laporta answered very quickly and rotundly and said, yes, I can work with somebody like that. And after a few seconds of silence, he added that, in a way, this is football. Quite clearly, they are in a process, both Koeman and Barcelona, in terms of what has to happen next. There will be another meeting next week, and Koeman will be the first one to learn about who will be the manager next. It could be him. It could be him because according to Rob Jansen, but also to other sources, it's 30 million euros what the cost of actually getting rid of Koeman when he's got 1 year left in his contract. And even though it's not his manager, but he may have to stay for the financial difficulties that the club have. And it's not a transitional era. And also he added, losing will have consequences. So losing have to have consequences. If it's a game or a final, it will be different consequences, but it has to have consequences. Basically, what Laporta is asking, is demanding, is that the standards are higher, that there is more pressure, that everybody feels that losing is not an option. Because the collapse of the team at the end of the season is something that Laporta is worried about. That's where he thinks that Koeman is not the manager for Barcelona, but he may have to have him. He has insisted, Laporta, in the press conference, said a few times, basically that he was in charge when he came in. Already Koeman was in charge, so there's not much he can do, especially with that kind of payoffs that he's got to give. So he did say, literally, do not discount that Koeman will stay, but they are looking at other options. What other options? He didn't say names, but when he was asked, is Guardiola a dream? He says, I cannot tell you all the dreams I have, otherwise it'll be havoc here. But basically, yes, I'm telling you, he wants Pep Guardiola to be in charge of Barcelona sooner rather than later. But I can tell you as well that he's not moving from Manchester City. Many are saying that Laporta is waiting for the Champions League final and the result of that to try to convince Pep Guardiola. The process of seduction certainly has started from Joan Laporta to try to bring Pep Guardiola back into the club. Guardiola has always said that he doesn't want to go back as a manager, but with Joan Laporta in charge, you never know. He's got 2-year contract at City, and he's not going to move from here. How about Xavi Hernandez? Well, Xavi Hernandez is it's a coach that Joan Laporta says we don't know yet if he's good or bad. That you're required to go through a process as a coach in more competitive leagues than the ones he's in Qatar, to actually be able, if he's ready. He certainly, Laporta feels that he's not ready for the job. There's a lot of pressure from Catalan media, a section of Catalan media close to Xavi, that that he gets given a chance. I've been with him. I've seen that there is that part of the process is starting. I would like to see him in the Premier League or in France or somewhere else testing himself. I'm not sure he'll go for that. I think he's going to consider that maybe at some point. But he has renewed his contract with Al Sadd, so he will remain in Qatar. And with that in mind, Laporta feels that he's not the man for Barcelona right now. That was quite clear. He did say that there are things that he didn't like from what he's seen of Barcelona, and that's what the kind of discussions that he's having with Koeman. Now, next, Messi, because it's very important also in terms of deciding who has to be the next manager. Not so much which manager is going to be, but more what type of manager is going to be, because what Messi wants is a Barcelona that's ambitious, a Barcelona that wins, a Barcelona that is working towards exactly that, being in a winning side again, where the demands are much higher, where training is strong, where it gives weapons to the team to win. All those things that I'm saying, my opinion is that you don't see with Ronald Koeman. Ronald Koeman has said himself, I may not be the perfect manager for Barcelona, but I want to stay, and he won't resign. So he'll wait to see what Laporta decides eventually. But what Messi's saying is, I want an ambitious Barcelona. So Laporta was asked about the future of Leo, and he said that things are going well.
A ver, nosotros hemos hecho una oferta dentro de las posibilidades del Barça. Seguro que Leo se merece mucho más y puede conseguir mucho más, pero por yo creo que, y voy a decir, sus ganas de hacer grande al Barça, yo creo que él, primero, estoy convencido de que está valorando mucho el esfuerzo que estamos haciendo, lo cual es de agradecer. Y bueno, yo pienso que le hace mucha ilusión continuar y está muy ilusionado con el proyecto.
The offer that is being presented to him, basically, it's according to the possibilities of Barcelona. It's been negotiated. He hasn't given details, but it basically is a couple of years in Barcelona, play the Qatar World Cup, finish the season with Barcelona, and then maybe going to the MLS, a dream that Antonella, his wife, has got with Cesc Fabregas' wife as well, and both players like the idea of being together in the MLS, maybe in Miami. We will see if that's but he will be there also an ambassador of Barcelona, and then he will return to Barcelona and be part of the technical secretary or as part of the football department for a longer period, 5-6 years, whatever it is. The idea is to more or less pay him what he's earning now, but distributed through many other years and continue being part of Barcelona. That's the creative way that Laporta is trying to convince Messi. And what he has said, Laporta, is that the thing that really makes him moderately optimistic is that Messi wants to make Barcelona big, wants to be part of a big Barcelona, and one Barcelona that you're not seeing now. So he's valuing that offer. He's hopeful with the project, with the Laporta project. And when Laporta was asked, what does he want? What does Messi want? Laporta was saying, through the conversations he's had with him, Messi wants to be happy, comfortable. He wants to enjoy himself. He wants to win all that in one. And he wants to, if possible, do it at Barcelona. That's why there is a process of thinking about what to do next, because he knows that still this financial situation of Barcelona is terrible. So he'll have to accept that perhaps they won't be that they won't be able to get big names. But as long, and this is what Messi demands, I repeat this again because it's very, very important, it's crucial, I feel. As long as the demands from everyone, from the offices to the pitch, are very high, there are players of quality at Barcelona, even though a lot of them are for sale because they need money, and you'll hear why in a minute. If the demands are very, very high, then you will get a better Barcelona. Barcelona were fighting for the titles, or for the league anyway, until the last 3-4 games of the season. And it collapsed because of that lack of demand that he wants, the looking after the details, working as hard on those details as Guardiola does or Tuchel does. He wants that kind of manager in charge, that profile. He doesn't give names, but that's what he will like, ambition from the club. So that's why everybody's thinking about what to do next, but Laporta insisted that Messi is doing a lot for the agreement with Barcelona to happen. He's very optimistic, well, moderately optimistic, Laporta, and I can see why, because if that's matched, and I'm not sure it's that situation, isn't it? Laporta doesn't feel that Koeman is the manager for that, but at the same time, he may not be able to get rid of him. So if Koeman raises the standards, he may be the solution for now. But how you do that, I don't know, because he already has a year to raise those standards. He has sorted out other things, like giving opportunity to youngsters, bringing kind of Messi back into some kind of happiness, or at least in an environment in which Messi could get closer to his best version, and he was the best player of La Liga. But they want more. Now, more things that was said is, who is your reference? Because in the past you will call Johan Cruyff or Chiqui Begiristain, who of course now is Manchester City, to get answers to any conundrum that you find at Barcelona. And he says Johan Cruyff still is the reference. He wants the team to play good football, to do it in the way that Barcelona is famous for, to use players from the quarry, from La Masia, and to do all that, giving spectacle, being brave. That still is the reference, he said. So he had this press conference because he felt that the timing, the timing and the rhythm of the information that's required and the solution to processes are different if you look at it from the club point of view or from the media point of view. Media have been putting Laporta in a lot of pressure. They wanted him to talk. He needs to find out more detail, for instance, in terms of finances, even though he said one thing that's huge. And it was a good timing to actually come out and tell to everyone, be patient, because I'm still finding more things out. But as I said, he did come out with a line which is amazing. The wages of Barcelona represent 110% of the income. It should be about between 60-70%, and that's the limit. It should be less if it's a very well-run club. So that means a lot of cost-cutting, and that can only be done one way, which is to reduce the wages of the squad, get rid of some of the players that are earning the most. So practically everybody's for sale, apart from the young, Pedri, not many more. Everybody else is practically for sale. And that includes, yes, the likes of Ansu Fati too. It's not just 20% you have to reduce the wages. You have to get rid of some of the wages that are there. And then, of course, with the players that are coming in, hope that the quality of the squad doesn't get affected. It's a difficult position Barcelona have got right now. Hence, because of the bad finances, somebody's got to be responsible. And he was asked about it, and he says, yes, I will look for responsibilities and people that have been responsible for this situation and some of the strange things that, he used another word, he said surprising things that he's found out. Surprising things. There are payments that are impossible to explain. So if that's the case, Bartomeu will get a call from Barcelona, from the lawyers, and will have to explain how these things happen, and the consequences could be huge. The reason why Barcelona joined the European Super League is partly down to the fact that, of course, they are in a bad financial situation. But the analysis that comes from the Anglo-Saxon world is that they are in a bad situation financially, and they want to replace it with money that comes in from whatever, including the European Super League. It's much more complex than that. Laporta comes in and realizes that Bartomeu had signed documents that meant that Barcelona had joined the Super League. And he added a proviso that he will ask the season ticket holders for their opinion, but that Laporta felt that Barcelona has to be part of the conversations, of the biggest conversations, including the Super League, yes. So that's why they haven't come out of it. And of course, he's got this, get-out clause in which he can ask the season ticket holders to vote one way or the other, and they would do more or less what he will ask. And that allows them, because the club belongs to the season ticket holders, in theory anyway. Yes, I know many would say, but in practicality as well. But I'm saying there's so much debt Barcelona have got, which is over 1 billion euros, with loans to banks and funds, that I start to wonder who owes Barcelona really, the season ticket holders or the banks. Anyway, he needs to, as I'm saying, he needs to sort out those finances. He needs to reduce costs, so he's not scared of the big decisions that will have to be taken soon. Increase the demands, find the right manager if it's not Koeman, or then work with Koeman, but ask him for more. You hear all this and you think of it, and it sounds all like an impossibility. How can you convince Messi with all of this? They may do, and as I say, it sounds at the moment that he's closer to stay at Barcelona than he was even 2 months ago. But one thing is the optimism delivered by Laporta, who is charming and who speaks very well and who smiles when he talks, and you feel like, yeah, I can go wherever he wants me to go, and is a good leader for that in terms of crisis. But a lot of things have to be sorted for this to still be a competitive Barcelona. With Messi, it will be easier. Quite clearly, if the demands go much, much higher, you get the best of Elijah Moriba, for instance, or Pedri, or Mingueza, or some of the players that are coming through the ranks as well, like Collado, or Fran's son. You remember Fran from Super Deport? His son is a fantastic player that plays in the Busquets role, and he will be training with the first team. So there are players that are exciting from the lower sides. Let's see how Ansu Fati recuperates, and that's really worrying. But all that mixed with players of quality like Wijnaldum and Kun Agüero, with an Eric Garcia that may just exploit his potential at Barcelona. Well, Laporta feels that it will be exciting for the club to, something to look forward to. Enough to actually challenge for the Champions League and for the league. We will have to see. As Atletico Madrid will reinforce themselves, they have already a winning side, and Real Madrid will have to make big decisions as well. So it's all about selling optimism. That's all it is, while they're putting everything together. Now, that's the press conference from Joan Laporta. I felt that I needed to tell you a little bit of this. Remember, there'll be more podcasts throughout the Euros. There is a Champions League final to be played, so in my social media, and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, through the podcast as well, I'll be talking about what I see in that final. I will analyzing it after as well. There will be an Ask Guillem at some point as well. So keep an eye on my Twitter timeline, and I hope you enjoy this, and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.